I own Kuhnhausen Metal Concepts, company of one. I work out of a 2-car garage with no lift. So everything you see is built by me, by hand. I started welding at age 12. I snuck into my dad's shop. I've seen him use the MIG welder 100 times. I made a little spaceship out of scrap metal, hid it from him for a bit. He found it and then eventually started teaching me some stuff. It started off, Dennis, the owner, wanted me to build him a car that he could drive from Eugene to Portland International Raceway 2 hours away, run a track event, and drive home. So we kind of meshed those two worlds of race car, street car, taking what we consider to be the best of both. It's an unlimited class now because of the swap, but he's not, if we wanted to build an SCCA car, we would have probably kept the L24 just for classification, but it wasn't built to do any specific thing other than be fun to look at, be fun to drive. There's things that are, race car people go, well, it's not a race car. And then there's things street people go, well, that's not very convenient. We don't have a secondary door bar in the cage so that the owner can get in and out comfortably. So I spent extra time doing more gussets around that to try and strengthen that as much as I could. And then there's also the fact that we have a rear view camera navigation stereo in there. Passengers that don't want to just hear the motor full time, can actually have an enjoyable trip. And then there's 2 spaces to put your coffee, The experience of just driving this thing, it's got muscle car features except it handles. It's got jack points in the 4 main cage tie-ins, and so if you jack any of those, 3 tires come off the ground. I didn't track exactly what I was doing, but I'm sure hundreds of hours stripping back seam sealer and stitching every seam, top side, bottom side, engine bay. All of it. It's done, and then obviously the cage is tied in everywhere, gusseted. I've got the upper preload bars. It's stout. There's very little deflection. It's a shame it's not on a rotisserie because the bottom side, in my opinion, is cooler than the top side. It's got functional brake ducts right to inside the rotor hats, differential cooler, that's fully automated, no driver interaction needed, fire suppression, the fuel lines, everything is just as meticulous as the top. As many aerodynamic advantages as we can get. It's got pretty much a full belly pan, the splitter and diffuser go way back, so there's very little air resistance on the car. We're keeping it mild horsepower at 400. We're not going 600-700 like we could with an LS. So we wanted as many advantages as we could get. Ground clearance was a big thing since it's got to be a street car and a track car. We can't be sitting 1.5 inches off the ground. We needed, 3.5 inches to clear normal speed bumps, normal driveways without scraping. So all the aero and everything on the car was made so that at full suspension droop, it sits about 1/2 inch off the ground, but we can also navigate the streets reasonably. We don't have to have a spotter. We don't have to get the boards out. We aren't getting stuck. It was definitely PRE inspired. I was actually super stoked to show Peter Brock. I had the Track Spec Motorsports vents, and I thought, what if I carried the red stripes from those down and kind of tie that into what I've done, and that was cool. And then the rear, the rounded quarter look on the Z's makes them look a little weaker, and I have these big 315s back there, so I got out some tape and I threw tape on this thing for half a day trying to find a design that I thought resonated with the build, and then I finally came up with this system of lines that just works. It crispens up, it gives you like an implied line where the quarter is, and it makes it look more muscular, and yet it ties in that V8 under the hood theme. It's just enough red, white, and blue to make the gray really pop.
Well, dude, thank you very much.
Hey, no, thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out this year, and
absolutely.
Can't wait to see where this goes next. Did I get you a sticker or anything? We get back to the car, I'll get you one.
Yeah, no problem. I'll get you a t-shirt. I brought a few.
Oh, sweet.